Hello, beautiful warrior women. It's Karen here, and welcome to another episode Q&A with Karen. So today I've got three great questions that came in over the weekend. So let me get to them right away. So the first one was from Elaine. Elaine from Colorado. She was asking, how many grams of carbs do I eat, or what kind of carbs do I eat? So it's a really big question. So first of all, most women don't know how many grams of carbs they're eating. So I would say, first of all, tally all of that up. And there's a lot of different apps online, different ways of doing it. It's pretty easy. But here's where I would say, do not clean up your eating before you add everything up. Because if you clean it up, we can't see where you're at. So we have to see the current state of where you're at to determine where we're going to put you. Then we have to look at your goals. We have to look at your diet history, which is really important. We also have to look at your story around carbs. So my first question to Elaine would be, what are your feelings around carbs? Is there a belief that carbs are bad, carbs are evil? Is this an over control issue? Or maybe it's an over control, under control issue where she controls and then she falls away and then she controls and falls away. So it's really important that we look at mindset here around the challenge that we have in front of us, because our belief systems and our unconscious self-sabotage has to be brought up to the light of day. That's why I'm really big on mindset, guys. You really have to start with that and continue with mindset throughout any kind of path that you're on. So, what is her story? Does she see carbs as bad? Does she see them as the reason that she can't lose the weight? She is 54, 5'3", 168 pounds. So, at 5'3", she's not very tall. She's like taller than me, and 168 pounds is pretty high. So, I don't have a picture of her, but I would guess that her body fat would be over 30%. So, that is in the obesity range. So, we've got to bring that down. That is one of our goals. Now, not every woman wants to lose weight, guys, believe it or not. A lot of women are happy where they are. They want to build health. They want to build more tone, more strength. They want to ensure that they don't bring their body into ill health. They want to improve their biomarkers like blood pressure or their glucose levels, whatever it happens to be. So it's really important that we first understand, what does she want? Now, Elaine does want to lose some pounds. She wants to lose between 20 and 30 pounds. Okay, great. So the first thing we have to do is look at her relationship to carbs. What is she eating? When is she eating them? Because there's healthy carbs and unhealthy carbs. Don't clean up your mess, please, before you send me pictures. I need to see pictures. Don't tell me. The pictures tell a whole different story. I can see portions. I can see timing. I can see little nuances that most people can't see. So it's really important that we start where she's at. And then we have to check in with her story around carbohydrates. How's she feeling about them? Does she feel that that has been the weight issue all along, is the carbohydrates? So that is mainstream thinking. A lot of women are in fear of carbs or in control of carbs, and they think that that is why they're where they're at. I don't know. I mean, she is 54. I want to know her diet history. I want to know her training and exercise history. I want to know a whole bunch of stuff about her, which won't take long, but I have to see the whole picture, because this is not just a body. This is a body and a life, and we have to take into consideration absolutely everything. And if she has a diet history, which she probably does if she has a fear of carbs, then we have to look at that as well. If we have her starting at, let's say she was eating 300 grams of carbs, let's just say 300 grams, and I drop her down to 100 grams of carbs, which I would never do, too big of a jump, she's going to plateau. And if she's done dieting in the past, she's going to plateau harder and deeper and longer, because that's what the body does. It remembers, and it will put on the brakes, because it's just trying to keep you safe, guys. It is here for survival. So we have to fetter it a little bit. We have to be a little bit more malleable. So all that stuff has to come into consideration. So to tally that up, I want to see pictures of her carbohydrates over 2 to 3 days, unaltered. So that would include a weekday and a weekend, because they usually are different. And I want to chat with her about why carbs, what's going on there, and get the real story so that I can meet her where she's at in her belief system and shift it, if necessary, into a healthier relationship of carbs and thinking about carbs. The second one is Barb. Barb from San Diego. So Barb says, how do I want to start training? Where do I begin? Well, that's a really big question. But I would need to know, is Barb coming back from a layoff? Has she ever trained in the gym before? Has she been doing structured weight training? What kind of training has she done? So it's really important that we see, is she starting fresh or is she coming back after a hiatus? And if it's a hiatus, then what and where has she been training? How does that look for her? What has her programming been? How many days? And I need to take a quick look at sets and reps. If she has a workout card, I can take a look at that pretty fast. The other thing is, what are her goals, right? Does she want shaping and toning? Does she want more of a physique like a bodybuilder or a figure gal? Or does she want to be more CrossFit-y? Is she perhaps an avid runner that just wants to supplement with her weight training? Really different outcomes. So that has to be mastered as well. And then we have to look at restrictions. What restrictions? Does she have injury? Does she have anything in her past that she has to move away from? Maybe she has lower back issues. Maybe she has shoulder tightness, all that kind of stuff. So what I would say to her is, first of all, figure out what her goals are and where she's coming from. If she's just fresh to training in the gym, I would put her on a whole body workout. The whole body workout is going to allow us to hit all 9 muscle groups and to put the sets and reps, look at her form, see how she's moving in the gym, correct any form, and then have her go away for a few days and report back within 1 to 2 days how she's feeling. That's going to give me an idea of the intensity that we can put on and what her recovery is like. So recovery has to build along with muscles, and that's super, super important, especially for women over 50, which she is, over 45, really. And the recovery, the nervous system runs the show here. So we have to be very wary of, what are her goals? How does she want to train? What does she want to look like? Does she have any future goals around competing or doing a triathlon? What are those goals? And then we can craft a workout plan. But I would start with a whole body. So that would be my suggestion to you, Barb. Get a trainer, go to the gym and get a whole body. And then with that trainer, I would switch it up to an upper and lower body. And then again, depending on your goals, say you wanted to look like body shaping isolation work. So you would want to then go into maybe 3 different workouts. So we can put more volume on your muscle, which means more weight, possibly, not always, but weight is volume, sets and reps. We have to have proper exercise sequencing. And there's all sorts of different things we can throw in there to keep variety. But if your focus is shape, tone, tightness, you want to look like you train or you compete, that's a whole different ball of wax than you want to use it to supplement your running and have a better running time. So again, it's really important that we understand what has been your history and where do you want to go? What does that look like for you? And then the third one is Zoe. I love that name. Zoe was asking about menopause. So Zoe is 48. She's from the UK, and she was asking about how she mitigates or minimizes the symptoms of menopause or perimenopause. First of all, is she in perimenopause or menopause? So perimenopause is when you're still having your period, even if it's erratic, and it usually starts mid-40s, and it can go anywhere from 5 to 10 years, just depending. And then menopause is determined as going a year without a period. So it starts on that day, which is 365 days after your last period. Now you're in menopause. Before that, it's perimenopause. So different, but not always. Some women have tougher symptoms in perimenopause, and some women have tougher symptoms in menopause. The majority of women have deeper symptoms in perimenopause. So I'd have to find out where she's at. Now, I stay in my lane. I am not a menopause expert. Yes, I've gone through it. But for her, I would say there's a couple of things. So, first of all, she needs to become educated about the different choices out there. So, there's a whole shopping market full of things that you can do for the symptoms. I would be careful though, because I would want to go to a certified specialist. Now, there's a lot of different kinds of specialists. There is endocrinologist, there's naturopaths, there's OBGYN. There are even clinics that specialize in women's health, depending on where she's at, right? There are some online supports as well, but I'm really, really big on getting your lab work done, whether it's blood or saliva. Now, I'm not going to go into the pros and cons of each. Some people are dead set on one and not the other. That's another whole conversation because different protocols use either blood or saliva. But what I would say for Zoe is to find out what's in your area and get your lab work done. So what are our choices? Well, there's herbal remedies. Some people do really well on that. There are tinctures. Some women do really well on that. There is, I worked in the supplement industry, in the health food industry, and women would come in looking for their black cohosh or their omega-3s. Sometimes that can work for some women too. It really is about trying it out. And then we can go into hormone replacement therapy, which we actually don't call it HRT anymore. We call it menopause hormone therapy because we actually can't replace exactly what our body is losing when we're into perimenopause or menopause. And usually that's a drop in progesterone, estrogen, testosterone. And so again, lab work is very, very, very valuable when it comes to understanding what's happening with your body. What I don't support is women going to their doctor and having the doctor give them estrogen thinking that's going to cure everything, because estrogen is important, but you can have, let's say, those dreaded night sweats can be due to high estrogen or low estrogen, right? So the symptoms are not always pertinent when it comes to crafting some kind of a hormone therapy to support you in mitigating the symptoms, because you don't know what you're serving without having the lab work done. And then doctors will often put women on antidepressants. This is not a mental disorder. This is a physical, biochemical, hormonal challenge. And I have a hard time with doctors that just dole out antidepressants like it's a sickness. It's not a sickness. It's not a disease. It's not a mental health issue. Yes, we have brain fog. Yes, we have erratic thinking. Yes, all of that stuff. But it's because our hormones are changing. That's what needs to be worked on. Um, the other thing is women will go to a pharmacist, and the pharmacist will compound something and give it to her. Where's the lab work? Where's the blood work? Where's the saliva work? When are you going to retest me to see? So I have in my YouTube channel, Karen McCoy Fitness, I have one on my hormonal regime. I do my own way and I'm comfortable with it. My belief system is good around it, and I've been doing it for years. And so that's my choice of how I managed perimenopause, and now I'm menopause. And I suppose I'm going to be in postmenopause, which they say, well, there's really no hard line, but it's where the symptoms are pretty well not there anymore, or they're very low, and it's usually 10 or more years after. And so postmenopause is where we are until we leave the planet. So menopause, it's a long game, guys. The hormonal shifts that we go through is a long game. And this is where we really have to either tough it out, which some women do. That's what my mama and grandma did. I decided not to do that. And other women have made other choices. So if anything, I would say start talking to other women and advocate for yourself. Get all the information before you make a decision, because your self-limiting beliefs or your fear or what you're used to growing up can define what you do, but it may not be the best model for you. So what I did was I tried a bunch of things, and then I went out and investigated and researched and talked to a bunch of people. And I landed on something that works for me, and it helped me sail through menopause. So I'm happy with my choice, but not everybody is. Some women might be comfortable with hormone replacement therapy. Some women might not be. Some women might be in fear of it. There's also a health history that you have to take into account. If you're going to go the synthetic or bioidentical route, you need to look at the health risks as well. That should all be done before you engage in any kind of hormone therapy. So, Zoe, do your homework, get all the research, and then ask questions. And the most important is advocate for yourself. You are running the show here. I don't take any advice from anybody. I go in armed with questions, knowing what I want, asking and staying open, and then I can decide afterwards. And it's really important that we gather the information, because what happens is we will go to someone, their belief system will run the show and will determine our choices. Girlfriend, that's not how I would do it in my world. I'm probably a pain in the butt when I go to the doctor, because he's like, okay, I haven't seen you in years. What are you here for? Well, I want to try mammography, or sorry, thermography instead of a mammogram. And he's like, okay, I haven't heard of that, but if that's what you want, yes, thank you. That's what I want in my practitioners, is for people to listen to me and allow me to investigate with their full support. And then I know I'm being heard, I'm being seen, but I'm advocating for myself. So I hope that helps to clear some of the muddy waters around the hormonal transition years. We call it the menopause transition, and it's a long game, about 20 years. I'll be doing more videos around that as well. So please watch for those as well. So I hope today's Q&A was informative for you guys. Keep the questions coming, and I will do another one next week. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, please. And if you have any questions or comments, pop them underneath. I'll be happy to answer them. And I will also send you my free Warrior Woman training and lifestyle ebook. Okay, you guys, lots of love. Do take care. Bye-bye. Got to end this. How do I end this? There we go. Ciao.